My name is Avery Turner. I am 33 and 2 minutes before my birthday, my family throws a party for my younger sister. The last Instagram story lands at 11:58 p.m. The caption says, "Only daughter worth celebrating." There is a three-tier cake sparklers and a crowd in my mother's living room in Queens. I am not invited. My phone is dark when the clock slips past midnight. It is my birthday, and the silence is the point. My mother Linda has always built a pedestal for Bella. When there is trouble, she lifts it higher. If Bella loses a job, there is a dinner. If Bella needs cash, it becomes family support. When I earn a promotion, Linda smiles and turns the talk back to Bella. My father Mark keeps the peace by looking away. He stands in photos and says, "We will sort it out later." Later never comes. They have no idea who I am at work. I am a forensic accountant in New York City. I track money, confirm metadata, and build timelines that hold up in a courtroom. While they stack cake tiers for a girl who calls herself an influencer, I am stacking records. Bank logs with dates and amounts, email headers that prove when jobs ended and stories began. Rent portal screenshots that show where my money went and when I shut the tap. A clean plan sits on my desk. It covers money, reputation, and law. It is quiet on my side and very loud on theirs. This is not revenge for revenge. This is about respect, justice, and boundaries. It is about ending a pattern that made me the helper and made my sister the star. It is about protecting my name, my credit, and my time. I am done taking crumbs. I am done being the family bank. I am going to do this once, and I am going to do it right. Subscribe now before you hear the ending that no one in my family saw coming. I grow up in a brick house in Queens that smells like cinnamon in winter and fresh paint in summer. My parents split when I'm a teenager. My mom Linda keeps the house. My dad Mark moves into a condo across town. Our roles settle without a single speech. I become the reliable one. Bella becomes the golden one. The pattern starts small and steady. I turn 10 and ask for a backyard party with pizza and games. The day before, Bella decides she wants to join a dance class. There is an envelope on the counter with $80 inside, money saved for my party. The envelope disappears. My mom says we will celebrate next weekend. That weekend never happens. In our house, Bella means now. I mean later. A second moment lands years later with a date I cannot forget. May 12, 2010. I am 18, captain of the debate team, and I qualify for National Honor Society. The induction starts at 6 in the evening. Bella has a junior high soccer game at 5. Her team loses, but she scores once. They go out for ice cream. No one from my family makes the induction. My dad calls and says, "We are proud of you too, but your sister needs encouragement more." I nod into the phone and say I understand. I do not really, but I learn the lesson. In this family, quiet competence is its own reward, and it gets you exactly nothing. I graduate from a state university on time in 2014. 4 years, 2 part-time jobs, and a partial scholarship. I pay $1,138 for first semester textbooks my freshman year and save every receipt because that is how my brain works. 2 months after I graduate, my mom throws a party for Bella to celebrate her high school diploma. The catering bill is right around what I spent on textbooks that first term. I can tell by the bakery boxes and the trays on the table. It is not that I do not want Bella to be celebrated. It is that every spotlight points one way. I take an entry role in a Big Four forensic practice in New York City. The salary is $58,000. The hours are long, but the mission is clear. I learn to follow a dollar through 5 accounts. I learn to read email headers and tell a story from metadata alone. I learn how to build timelines that hold in court. It feels like the first place where effort equals outcome. Bella tries community college for 1 term, then stops. She picks up retail jobs and leaves them. Each exit has a new villain and a fresh reason. My mom nods and makes calls. My dad goes quiet. I become the person who fills gaps. The call that changes my budget comes in August 2021. Bella is 3 months behind on rent in Ridgewood. The landlord, Raj Patel, finds my number on her emergency contact form. He is polite and firm. The arrears for my portion would be $3,480 if I want to help bring her current. I decide to cover the arrears for my portion and then set a recurring transfer, and I pay $3,480 to close the past due months of May, June, and July. I set a monthly transfer of $1,160 starting in August. That amount equals roughly 40% of her rent. I make the transfer on the 1st of each month. I label it support in my own ledger and tell myself, this is temporary. From August 2021 through May 2025, that support hits 46 times. 46 months times $1,160 equals $53,360. When I add the initial arrears catch-up of $3,480, the rent support subtotal becomes $56,840. I write the dates and amounts in a spreadsheet. I reconcile the confirmation emails with the rent portal screenshots. I file everything by month. Rent is not the only leak. I cover utilities during 6 different months, usually in winter when the gas and electric double. The average is $220. The total is $1,320. I make 3 car payments when Bella says she will lose the sedan without a catch-up. 3 payments at $380 equals $1,140. I pay the full security deposit when she signs that Ridgewood lease $2,900. I keep track of all of it because that is my training, and because I know love without records turns into denial when the story shifts. There are bailouts that sit outside the usual categories. They add up to $6,500 across 4 years. I can list them without looking. $420 for a winter heat and electric catch-up. $180 to restore a phone line that went dark during a job hunt. $760 for an urgent care bill that hit during a flu spike. $530 to reinstate a lapsed car insurance policy. $275 for a tow fee when Dylan left a car in a no-park zone after an event. $620 for a weekend flight to what Bella called a work opportunity. $1,350 to replace a coffee-soaked laptop. $1,085 to stop a credit card from rolling into collections. $1,280 to clear a storage unit balance during a rushed move. I do not love any of these choices. I also do not want to watch my sister fall apart on the street. So, I help. Then I go to work and refill the well. Add those categories together, and the number is $68,700 across 4 years. $56,840 in rent support, including the arrears catch-up. $1,320 in utilities. $1,140 in car payments. $2,900 for the deposit. $6,500 in bailouts. It is a large number because it spans a long time. It is also the truth. Every dollar has a date and a receipt. All the while, the story online plays differently. Bella builds a small platform. She posts bright pictures, tags small brands, and calls Dylan her manager. My mom reposts with captions like, "So proud of our girl." When I share a quiet work win the most, I get as a heart emoji and a nice job. When Bella mentions a new opportunity, my mom plans a dinner. When I get a certification exam date, my mom says that is nice and asks if I can help Bella move a dresser. I do not shout about any of this. I do what I always do. I keep a clean ledger. I build my skills. I pass exams. I carry larger cases. I help a client recover $8.3 million by tracing false vendor payments in March. The partner notes my work in a meeting and uses my name and the word meticulous in the same sentence. I pretend it does not matter to me, and then I go to my desk and breathe for a minute. It matters. Even with the good days at work, the family pattern does not bend. When Bella misses a shift, Mom says she is sensitive and needs support. When Bella posts a gifted outfit, there's a string of clapping emojis in the family chat. When I ask for help carrying a couch up 2 flights of stairs, the thread goes quiet. When I change the oil in my own car and send a picture because I am proud I finally learned it, my dad replies 2 days later with a thumbs up. It is not cruelty, not the way people think of cruelty. It is a drip of dismissal that wears a groove over years. By 2025, the numbers and the patience both feel thin. I am 33, my work is steady and growing. My emergency fund sits at 6 months of living expenses, $36,000. My house fund has crossed the 6-figure mark and stands at $112,000. The Chicago office has asked me to transfer into a senior manager role. The base will be $185,000 with a bonus target on top. The relocation package will cover movers and 2 months of temporary housing, plus a tax gross up. It is a clean opportunity, and it arrives right as my family plans a party at 11:58 p.m. on the night before my birthday. I keep every detail aligned because alignment is how I stay sane. The rent support count is 46 months, not 48. The arrears catch-up covers the missing 3 months before the recurring transfer starts. The college timeline stays tight. High school in 2010, college graduation in 2014. Big 4 work right after. Nothing stretches just to fit a scene. I do not need to exaggerate. The facts carry enough weight. There are 3 or 4 moments of blatant favoritism that I can recite like a list, and I have. The birthday envelope, the National Honor Society versus the soccer game, the textbook bill, and the party tray. The constant pattern of me as a bank and Bella as the celebration. These are not isolated stories. They form a system. A system rewards what it repeats. In our family, the system repeats Bella first and Avery later, if at all. I do not tell them what I am tracking. I do not show my spreadsheet. I do not send a warning. I write everything down and I wait for the day when the facts are needed. I am not the loud one in this family. I am the one who brings receipts. But they do not know what I am building. While they are planning a cake, I am planning a boundary that uses policy and law. While they are rehearsing a caption, I am drafting a simple email to a landlord that ends a transfer that should have ended a year ago. While they are tagging a brand, I am preparing a packet that keeps a brand from walking into a story that is not true. That is when everything changes. The last Instagram story lands at 11:58 p.m. on the night before my birthday. The caption says, "Only daughter worth celebrating." 2 minutes later, the calendar flips to May 11 and it is my birthday. It is also Mother's Day that year. My phone stays silent. The cake sparkles on screen. The room cheers for my sister. I open my laptop and my ledger opens with it. What happens next shocks everyone, and I do not have to raise my voice to do it. Friday, May 9. 2 days before Mother's Day, I leave the office with a draft report in my bag and plans to finish slides at home. When I unlock my apartment, water is running behind the bathroom wall. The super can shut it off, but he cannot patch until morning. I need a dry place to sleep and a safe spot for my work laptop. I text the family chat. "Can I crash in the guest room tonight?" No response. I call my mom. She answers on speaker. "We are at the bakery," she says, picking up a custom order for Bella. "Big day tomorrow." I tell her I have an active leak and a work deck due. She says towels will do for one night and hangs up. I text my dad. He replies an hour later. "I am out of town. We will sort it out next week." Cammy calls me back first. "I am 2 subway stops away," she says. "Bring your laptop here." I do. That is the final straw, not because a cake exists, but because, in my crisis, the answer is towels and next week. I am 33. I can fix my own leak, but I can also see a system that never makes room for me. I sleep on Cammy's couch, send the deck at midnight, and set an early alarm. The next night, May 10, the party goes live at 11:58 p.m. "Only daughter worth celebrating," the caption reads. 2 minutes later, it is my birthday. My phone is still dark. I do not rage. I do not explain. I go home, set a fan in the bathroom, and open my ledger. I start with decisions I can execute in minutes and defend for years. First, I cancel the recurring rent transfer that I began in August 2021. It is posted 46 times through May 2025. The next debit would be June 1st. It will not happen. Second, I draft a clean email to Raj Patel. I confirm the dates and amounts I have paid, including the initial arrears catch-up of $3,480 in August 2021 and the 46 monthly transfers of $1,160 through May 2025. I state that I will not be providing further support. Future rent questions go to Bella directly. The subject line is concise. Change in payment source for tenant Bella Turner. I send it. Third, I protect my credit. I place freezes with Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. I set a fraud alert so new applications trigger a call to me. I pull my reports and scan the inquiry sections. 2 buy now, pay later checks appear from February and March. They are tied to deliveries at Bella's address. They post as soft inquiries on Experian and trigger account alerts, the kind that most consumers ignore. I do not ignore them. I flag both entries as potential identity misuse and record order numbers and dates from the retailer confirmations in my email. I remove Bella as an authorized user on a card I added 3 years ago. I replace weak passwords with 12 character strings and add 2-factor on every account that allows it. But they do not know what I am building. The fourth step is a folder I title Dossier. I build it like a case file. Section 1, a 1-page timeline from August 2021 to May 2025. Section 2, financial support with subtotals that reconcile to $68,700 and match dates line by line. Section 3, employment with HR warnings and the February 5 termination notice from Teresa Nguyen. Section 4, social media with screenshots of the story that reads, "Only daughter worth celebrating" at 11:58 p.m. metadata on the image file, and a note that it predates my birthday by 2 minutes. Section 5, property with rent portal screenshots that show my recurring payments and the end date in May. Section 6, identity with the 2 buy now, pay later orders shipped to Bella's address in February and March, and my police report draft notes. Section 7, legal plan with a checklist to separate civil and family matters. That separation matters. I book a consult for Monday afternoon with a consumer protection attorney. We meet after work in a small conference room. I explain the numbers in quiet sentences while she reads the tabs. We talk procedure, not drama. Small claims for a narrow, provable slice of the support that fits the jurisdictional limit. That filing goes to New York City Civil Court. Any request for an order of protection for harassment or repeated unwanted contact goes to family court under a separate docket, because we are family, not strangers. Service of process can occur in a public place for safety, but the papers come from different courts. We write this down so nothing blurs. I leave with a to-do list and a calm mind. That is when everything changes. I add a different front to the plan, the one that affects reputation. Bella has a mall meet and greet scheduled the Saturday after Mother's Day at Queens Center Mall. Dylan has posted the flyer. A public venue with security is safer than a doorstep. If a process server needs to find her, that is the place. I do not want a scene. I want clean service and a record that it was done. I also prepare a brand packet. I do not accuse. I present. A one-page cover letter, 2 paragraphs. I state that I understand the brand may be considering a partnership with Bella. I attach facts relevant to truth in marketing and reliability. I include the termination date of February 5. I include screenshots where Bella implies a promotion in March. I include the rent support timeline in high-level form. No account numbers, no doxing, only dates and categories. I note that I have filed a police report for 2 buy now, pay later accounts, opened with my name that shipped to her address in February and March. If a brand reads that and pauses, that is their choice. If they continue anyway, that is also their choice. My job is to make sure no one says later that they did not know. I test every number in my ledger for accuracy. Rent support $56,840, which equals 46 months times 1,160 plus the arrears catch-up of 3,480. Utilities, 1,320. Car payments, 1,140. Security deposit, 2,900. Bailout, 6,500. The total is 68,700. I check the math twice and then a third time. I confirm May 11, 2025 is my birthday and also Mother's Day this year. I confirm the timestamp on the story 11:58 p.m. on May 10. I confirm that my next rent transfer would have been June 1st, so Raj will not notice a missing payment until early June unless Bella tips him off sooner. Details are the difference between a story that feels true and a record that is true. What happened next shocks everyone, but on my end it is quiet. Sunday morning, Mother's Day, I send 2 emails, one to the family, one to Bella's landlord. The family email is short. I outline the total I have paid across 4 years. I attach a PDF of the dossier. I state that I have ended all support and that rent questions now go to Bella. I blind copy Cami so at least one person outside my parents sees the facts in one packet. The second email to Raj confirms that no further payments will be made from me effective immediately. I offer no commentary. I do not ask for sympathy. I ask only that future notices go to the tenant of record. 3 days later, I get the call that sets the public part in motion. It is Cami. She says the mall event is still on for Saturday and that the brand has not canceled. She says she will be there to stand near the line not to provoke, but to witness. I book the process server that afternoon and provide the time, place, and a photo. I send the brand packet to the mall point of contact listed on the flyer. I save the sent confirmation. But they still do not know what I am building. Linda calls me that night and leaves a long voicemail about family and betrayal. Dylan texts from an unknown number and demands I reinstate the money. My dad writes, "Please talk to me before you do anything we cannot undo." I do not reply. Nothing I am doing is impulsive. It is all documented. It is all lawful. It is what healthy boundaries look like after years of being treated like a resource. That is when everything changes for me internally. The ache I have carried in my chest eases. Action replaces noise. My apartment is dry. My ledger is clean. My plan is set. The next move belongs to me, but the next scene will not. It will happen where there are cameras and witnesses and ushers who understand how to keep order. What happens next shocks everyone. Saturday arrives and the mall fills with light and chatter. The process server steps into the line with a neutral shirt and a folder. He says her name. He confirms her identity. He hands over the papers. And with that, the story stops being a family myth and becomes a matter of record. The mall service is quiet on my end. A licensed process server does his job and I go back to work on Monday. I submit my timesheet log, my case notes, and finish a vendor analysis that closes a gap in a client file. Action replaces noise, file. My ledger is clean. My plan is in motion. I keep building the life that does not depend on anyone in my family. Work becomes the engine. In early June, I present findings to a client board in Midtown. I trace payments through 5 shell entities and tie false invoices to 2 insiders. The recovery estimate is $8.3 million. The general counsel asks 3 technical questions about related party testing. I answer without notes. After the meeting, my partner sends a one-line email. Outstanding. The compensation memo arrives 2 days later. Chicago Senior Manager. Base $185,000. Target bonus 20%. Relocation package includes movers 60 days of corporate housing and a tax gross up. Start date proposed for July 22. I download the PDF sign and save a copy in a folder named Offer. I screenshot the DocuSign confirmation. I add both to my dossier under personal proof because documentation is not only for the other side. It keeps me honest about my own steps. Money is no longer a fog. I adjust my budget the same day. Emergency fund sits at 6 months of expenses, $36,000 in a high-yield savings account. My house fund holds $112,000. I automate the last roundup. 2 transfers of $4,000 each from a bonus and a tax refund bring it to $120,000 by the end of June. I meet with a lender in Chicago on Zoom. We run numbers on a 1-bedroom condo near the lake. With my down payment, my projected mortgage keeps my housing costs below 30% of my post-tax income. I save the pre-approval letter as a PDF and file it. Evidence is not a habit for me. It is a language. Meanwhile, the family script tries to keep running. Linda texts twice after the mall, then stops when I do not respond. She posts fewer stories. The tone shifts from proud of our girl to quiet photos of a cat and a plant on a windowsill. Mark calls and asks to meet for lunch. He says he saw my LinkedIn update and wants to congratulate me. I agree to coffee in a public place. He says he did not understand the scope of what I paid until the email. He says I seemed so capable, and that made it easy to assume I did not need anything from him. I say I hear him. I do not give him absolution. I give him a chance to show up twice in a row. Bella keeps posting, then pauses. A brand announces a schedule change on Thursday after the mall event and quietly removes her name from a carousel graphic. The next week she writes that a partnership is postponed due to timing. My brand packet is factual and restrained. It does not accuse. It presents. A manager replies with a 1-sentence thank you for the context. I file the email. I do not reply. It is not my job to end her career. It is my job to stop funding her story and to make sure no one says later that they were misled when the information was available. But they do not know what I am building. I am not building a spectacle. I am building a floor. I add 2 small changes that look boring and feel powerful. I move my passwords to a hardware key on accounts that allow it. I switch my bank alerts to real-time push and require a phone call for any new payee. I verify that the credit freezes with Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion are active. I request mailed confirmation letters and file them. I also file the police report number for the 2 buy now, pay later orders that shipped to Bella's address in February and March. The report notes the merchant names, order numbers, and delivery confirmations. Everything has a date. Everything has a source. That is when everything changes at work. My partner asked me to lead a training on email metadata and payment flow mapping for new associates. I write a simple deck with screenshots and redacted examples. I show them how a timestamp can settle a debate in a room full of people who want the answer to bend. I tell them the same thing I tell myself at 2 in the morning. Numbers do not love you. They do not hate you. They tell you the truth if you listen without fear of what it means. After the session, an associate thanks me and says she did not know forensic work could feel this human. I smile because I did not either when I started. The phone calls from Bella turn to messages through friends. The tone slides from command to plea. The rent is late again. The landlord is strict. She says I am making her homeless. I have the Raj Patel email on file that shows I paid 46 months and an arrears catch-up. I do not respond. The point is not to watch her fall. The point is to stop being the net that makes falling a lifestyle. 2 weeks later, Raj sends Bella a formal notice and offers a payment plan. She ignores it. He starts the standard process. This is not my crisis anymore. The Chicago transfer becomes a timeline with coordinates. I schedule movers for July 19. I book the corporate apartment near the river for 60 days. I list and sell 3 pieces of furniture I do not want to take. I donate 4 bags of clothes. I send my building management my move-out date. I change my mailing address with the bank and the IRS. I print a moving checklist and cross out items with a pen. I sleep well for the first time in months. What happened next shocks everyone because the next steps are not loud, but they ripple. The small claims case gets a hearing date in late June. I receive the notice by mail. I scan it and file it. Bella receives her copy by service at the mall and by mail. She calls Linda. Linda texts me a long block that ends with, "You are punishing your sister for being loved." I do not reply. The court does not care about love as a defense to a ledger. It cares about dates, amounts, and promises to repay that never happened. I prepare a one-page summary sheet with the totals. 56,840 in rent support including the arrears catch-up. 1,320 in utilities. 1,140 in car payments. 2,900 for a deposit. 6,500 in bailouts. I highlight the paragraph in her emails that says, "I will pay you back when my commission check clears." I print 2 copies for the judge and for Bella. 3 days later, a detective calls about my identity report. He confirms the delivery addresses and a phone number I don't recognize, then says, the case likely ends in a misdemeanor plea if the merchants press it and the evidence holds. Restitution about $5,400 total would go to them. He says the ADA will reach out. I thank him, hang up, and sit with the truth. Consequences can be boring and still be real. I'm also building a circle that isn't blood. Cammie brings takeout on my last night in Queens. 2 colleagues take me to their favorite spot by the river. My boss leaves a note. "You are calm in a storm, keep that." I pack it with my diplomas and the photo from my first day at the firm and leave behind the reflex to fix everything for people who don't say thank you. Then a quiet shift Mark shows up to help pack. No speeches, no complaints. He carries the heavy boxes, takes out the trash, rides the elevator in silence. In the lobby, he says, "I wish I'd done more of this when you were younger." "Me too," I say. He promises to visit in August. It's not redemption, it's movement. Before the hearing, I walk past the bakery where Linda ordered the cake and buy a cupcake. 1 candle at my kitchen counter. "Happy birthday to me," I say, belated. I don't need a party, I need a life that fits. Hearing day Navy suit binder in hand. Tabs labeled Timeline Support Employment, Social Media Property, Identity. Legal plan plus 1 new tab at the front. Chicago offer, start date July 22. I want the judge to see I'm clearing the ledger to move forward, not clinging to a fight. The courtroom is small. The clerk calls our names. Linda sits behind Bella. Dylan stares at his phone. I speak in short sentences, dates, amounts, highlighted emails. No feelings, just facts. In a room built for arguments, the quiet person with receipts holds the ground. 3 days later, the ADA calls. He confirms 2 buy now, pay later orders shipped to Bella's address in February and March. The merchants want restitution. A misdemeanor plea is on the table, probation community service repayment around $5, $400. I read him order numbers, delivery confirmations, and the phone tied to the applications. He thanks me and promises a written notice. I filed the call. The criminal lane moves on its own track, clear, separate, documented. A week later, small claims rules in my favor on a narrow slice within its limit. $7, $350 paid at $305 a month through the court portal. I scan the schedule, 1 clean copy for my files, another for travel. This isn't about squeezing her, it's about drawing a straight line between money sent and money returned. Receipts become restitution. The family cycles through the stages. Shock. Linda calls 3 times, leaves a voicemail about family handling family. I file it. Denial Mark asks if we can appeal or settle quietly. I text back that the judgment stands until it's paid. Anger Dylan from a new number says I ruined Bella's work. Blocked. Panic Bella posts about the landlord and late fees, claims I'm making her homeless. Raj offered a plan. She ignored it. Desperation, a midnight apology, I'll do better. I don't respond. Effort weighs more than words. I don't need anyone to bow. I need the pattern to stop. I let the judgment stand. I let the ADA work. I keep the boundaries I wrote down. Then the public break. Mark's building hosts an HOA summer party. Folding tables, a mic. I almost skip it. He asks me to drop by for an hour. Mid-afternoon, he takes the mic, looks at the neighbors, then at me. He says he failed me by turning me into the capable one who never needed anything. He says he forgot my birthday while funding a party celebrating a lie. He apologizes. The courtyard goes quiet. A few claps. Linda stands by the buffet, arms crossed, eyes down. No speech erases a ledger. Silence does its own confessing. Consequences ripple. A brand manager thanks me for context and pauses a promotion featuring Bella. The ADA emails a July plea date. I file both and go run by the river. The family tries the old script. Linda texts family, stands by family. I reply once boundaries aren't abandonment. I'll engage when contact stays respectful. All rent questions go to Raj. I attach the email ending my payments and the credit freeze confirmations from Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. Professional tone, no extra words. Control isn't a speech, it's a map of levers. I own my accounts, my time, and the records, brands, and courts trust. I don't own people and I won't fund them. Once they grasp that, pressure stops working. Threats tears group messages don't move a locked budget. Meanwhile, the mall video of the process server circulates locally. Her name, confirmed papers handed over, no drama. It looks like what it is, due process. The story exits the family chat and enters a world where facts have weight. Family court grants my temporary order of protection, pending a hearing, no harassment, no third-party conduct. I file it behind the small claims judgment. Civil family criminal 3 tracks, 1 spine documentation. Bella doesn't collapse, she grows up. Raj posts a 5-day notice. She finds a roommate, takes a full-time shift, keeps it off social. The $350 payments arrive on schedule. The portal emails receipts. I don't reply. Systems do their job. I keep building a life that doesn't swing for tantrums. Chicago start date set. Condo offer accepted after inspection. Down payment $120,000. Rate locked. Movers booked. Utilities scheduled. Itinerary taped to a cabinet. The phase ends as it began, calm, precise. Numbers aren't opinions. Orders aren't threats. They're the record. I fly to Chicago with 1 suitcase and a binder. Corporate housing near the river for 60 days, enough to close if things stay on track. By Friday, I'm leading a huddle on payment flows. Back in Queens, the portal logs the first $350 installment. The ADA confirms the plea terms: restitution, probation, community service. Family court converts my temporary order to a 12-month no harassment stipulation. I close the drawer. The phone stays quiet. Stays. Saturdays I tour condos. We close in early September. Payment under 30% of take-home. I stand in the empty living room and listen to the quiet. It sounds like agency. At home, people adjust by inches. Linda posts plants and weather. Mark visits in August and says thank you. Bella works shifts, finds a roommate, completes service hours. This isn't a victory lap. It's what happens when systems run on dates and amounts, not moods. I keep my own rules: 6-month emergency fund, automated savings, real-time alerts, active freezes, hardware keys, weekly reconciliations. Calm is a practice. Boundaries are maintenance. Cami visits. We sit in the Art Institute and share headphones. She says Raj offered Bella a realistic rent plan and this time she took it. People change when it's expensive not to. I don't need purity, I need results. They're here. On a cool Sunday, I shelve the binder, not for war, just so I know where proof lives. Then Bella emails from a plain address. No emojis, no asks. She's paying monthly, finishing community service, taking a bookkeeping class, liking how columns line up. She says hearing her name at the mall changed something. She didn't want me to carry her anymore. I write back 1 paragraph, glad she's working and studying. Open to a healthier relationship built on respect and boundaries. Keep going. Peace isn't fireworks. It's a quiet phone plans that hold a mortgage paid on the first no pull to be anywhere else. It's repeatable. On my 34th birthday, I buy my own cake. 1 gold candle. When they sing, I don't wish for a different family. I wish for more of this quiet, honesty agency. My name is Avery Turner. I'm 34. I grew up going last. I built a life where I didn't yell. I documented. I filed. I moved. I healed. If this sounds like your story, share it. If you're building your boundaries, subscribe. The ending won't be cinematic, but it will feel like breathing.